Welcome to the number one Bengals podcast. I'm your host, Eddie McDuke. As always, I'm joined by the great John Sheeran. And wow, John, I mean, today we have quite the guest. Yeah. And I'm talking about Scott Lewis. And for those of you who don't know, Scott Lewis has over 2 billion subscribers across the internet. This man he is the host of I'm Not Gon Hold You on the Barber's Chair Network. It's a podcast network. And he's also part of HMB Media. Now, he is a Bears fan, but he knows a lot about sports in general. And so he's going to give us his perspective on the Bengals' upcoming season and the NFL season overall. So welcome to you, Scott.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on, man. I'm glad I could get on, finally talk to you guys, man. I'm excited.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what you do and kind of your pacifist approach. I take it when you don't hold people. You don't like violence. I don't like violence.
All
you
peaceful.
don't. Yeah. You don't like disturbing other people. So yeah, tell us about the name of your podcast and what you do.
Well, man, I just, I do a bunch of things with media. I started my company, the Barber's Chair Network, with my brother Flows and my homie Pierce, like maybe three and a half years ago, 2018. Basically, we wanted to give a voice for Black content creators to, have more opportunities, writing, recording, shooting video, the whole nine. So we started that, and, we really kind of got everything going with our Bears podcast that we started 6 years ago called 79th and Hallis, which is me and my brother Flows, and we're actually covering our first training camp this year too. Like my brother was at Hallis Hall today covering the Bears, so that kind of like got us our start. So with the idea for my show, I'm Not Gonna Hold You, my friends Pavi and TPJ, they're the host of this pretty popular internet YouTube show called Hoops and Brews, where they talk about basketball, drink beer, and they yell. Got a lot of people, been on there. They get into them. They've been working a lot with Baron Davis. It's been cool with them. So I linked up with them to do this video show. Because a lot of people, a lot of my friends, a lot of people follow me on social media. And by the way, you can follow me at Barbchair Scott on Twitter and Instagram.
It's a fourth of the world's population that follows him. Yes, go ahead. Please, yeah.
Everybody says, they like my opinions. I'm not gonna, I don't hold anything back, and that's pretty much why I get the title from. Like I always, whenever I talk to my friend, one of my best friends, like whenever I say something maybe controversial, I'm like, I'm not gonna hold you, but this certain thing sucks or something like that. So I thought that'd be a cool title, and it's just really, I just want like a unfiltered opinion on sports. Without all the, the biases and stuff like that. And, it's been something we've been doing for a couple of weeks now, and I'm excited.
Just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
We just recorded episode 5 today.
Yeah. Well, Scott, so our show originally, until a couple of years ago, was called Sorry If I Spit When I Speak. So, yeah, so it's pretty close. So we say whatever we want. We interrupt. It's actually a sign of respect where I come from, to interrupt someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a sign of love. And but we were legally obliged by the Believe Podcast Network to embrace the name, the number one Bengals podcast. I don't know how it works, but basically it is for marketing purposes.
Okay.
And because of the success of our podcast, we had to accept that title, which is fine. It's fine that it still works. But so the Barber's Chair, explain the kind of etymology of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much, man, we wanted to be kind of like it's like, if you think about the number one talking place in like the Black community, it's the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? Barbershop it's like the one-stop shop. You can get your hair cut, you're gonna get some relationship thoughts, you're gonna get sports talk, music talk, you might get some dudes coming there, sell some DVDs, some some CDs, everything. It's like the one-stop shop, man. That's basically where you have the center of conversation in the Black community for Black men. And so my brother was like, we were trying to figure out what to name it. He was like, it's just name it the Barber's Chair. That's where all the conversation happens. And I was like, That's a good idea. So we kind of ran with that, man. And a lot of people have really enjoyed it. And I'm proud of the stuff we've done in just this short time, man. So that's
Yeah.
going for it.
Well, I'll tell you, from my village, it's actually the bakery. With that is where you discuss the sports. Yeah, because we have subsidized bread.
Okay.
And yeah, it's so cheap that's actually cheaper for me to import the bread still from my country here. But it's only about 3 cents for a bread that lasts me about 10 days. Yeah, and so you wait in the line. Obviously, it's very popular. So you wait in the line, you talk about everything. And so I can totally identify with that. I'm thinking of starting the Bread Shop podcast network, but I have to run it by the Believe people. Yeah, all the corporate loopholes. But okay, so Scott, I'm going to start you off with I just want to start things off, give you a very a softball, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, and who's going to win the Super Bowl next year? That's my first question.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two answers. I'm gonna give my biased answer and I'm gonna give my real answer. My biased answer is what I say every year until it actually happens. The Chicago Bears. Now, my real answer, I think the GOAT is going to run it back. I think Tom Brady is going to run it back. I'm at the point in my life right now where this guy's been winning championships since I've been in 7th grade. Until I see him not do it, I'm going to pick him every year. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges as usual, but it's rare that you see a team bring back all of their starters. They're going to have 1 full year with the actual training camp. They're going to be more comfortable with their roles. And if you look at their division, I mean, last year they lost. They didn't win a division because of New Orleans. Like, you don't have Drew Brees anymore. There you have Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. So I think they're going to pretty much cruise to a division title. So my preseason pick, I'm going to say Tampa Bay.
You said the GOAT, but I was confused when you said running back because I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers didn't exactly run it back with that. I mean, who else can leverage themselves into saying, I'm not coming back until you guys trade for Randall Cobb? You know what I mean?
Powerful move there by 12. As I refer him, I don't call him by his name. 12. Aaron Rodgers is the cuss word in my household, but I did actually rant about that on my show today. Like, I feel like he just kind of got there so he wouldn't get fined. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like what Marshawn says. Like, I still don't think he really messes with the Packers. That press conference, nothing from that press conference told me, okay, this is pretty good. It's like when your girl takes you back, but she's still angry at you. That's pretty much with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers is right now.
Well, I would say this to Scott. Here's my take on the Aaron Rodgers thing. So Aaron Rodgers, great quarterback. A lot of people talk about how he doesn't throw the ball away enough. He doesn't take enough risks. He doesn't throw the easy outs. He doesn't. I think him really not caring, and I don't know if you saw, but he was wearing a shirt that had like chili on it. He had sunglasses that were cheaper than the sunglasses I would buy, and the man does not have it together. So I think that's a good thing. I think he's going to let loose. I think he just doesn't care. He's just going to have fun with it and maybe have his best season yet. So
Aaron Rodgers, he's definitely like me when I was working. Like I would come there like, yeah, I'm just here so I can pay my rent, and like I'm not really here to be doing anything spectacular. So I can relate on that level too.
But I would say this: you mentioned, I think we talk about. You said Tom Brady and the Bucs bringing all their players back. John and I know that they added a very spicy meatball to that roster in addition to bringing everybody back in Giovanni Bernard. Now, I know I said the spicy meatball. He's not actually Italian, Scott. but he is. Look, that guy, we've been waiting for him to be utilized properly. And I think it's finally going to happen, John. Don't you think so?
I really hope so. Like, just remembering who Giovanni Bernard was, like the early years of him with the Bengals, it was so exciting because it was the first time that they had like this actually competent receiving back, and it added a new dimension to the offense. And as the years went on, he just got used less and less with that, whether it would be them involving Jeremy Hill or Joe Mixon. And there was just a lot of confusion about how to divvy up these roles with these running backs. And eventually Giovanni Bernard came from just a receiving back to like a pass protection back. So now him being in an offense that's definitely going to give him like 70, 60 targets this year with a quarterback that knows how to use running backs out of the backfield. He's still only like 29, 30 years old. He's got juice left in him to actually make a difference on a great offense. So I think we're all excited to see what he does there.
Yeah. Well, okay, Scott, let me move on to my next question for you. So let me phrase it a little differently. Those are your picks, okay? What about the up-and-comers? What about the Cinderellas? What about the Rumpelstiltskins? What about, like, what's a team that no one would expect to be in the Super Bowl that you think could be in the Super Bowl?
That's a really good question. Let me see with the NFC and the AFC. I would probably have to say, I don't know if this is a sleeper because they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but they were pretty beat up. But I still think San Francisco is probably a team, if they're healthy, can at least be in the race. Now, I'm not the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan. As somebody who watched Mr. Trubisky for the last 4 or 5 years, he's West Coast Mitch. That's exactly what Jimmy G is. But I like what Shanahan does. They've got good, running backs. They've got good receivers. The defense is healthy. They're gonna get Bosa back. They're in a tough division, but I still think if healthy, they're probably the best. I don't know if Seattle can run it back again. We still don't know if things are so copacetic with Russ and, Pete Carroll. And I think Arizona is the team that everybody's jumping on. I feel like they're going to be like the new hot team, and I don't really know they're going to really live up to expectations. So I guess if there's a team who will probably bounce back more, maybe a Cinderella will probably be San Francisco.
Okay.
But is that with Trey Lance, though, or is that with Jimmy?
It's gonna be Jimmy. Jimmy G's bad, but he's not lose his job to Trey Lance, man. I don't believe in Trey Lance either. Like,
wow. Well, let me rephrase. So let's talk about the AFC. Within the AFC, let's just say.
Let me see. I think the interesting team in the AFC will probably be. I mean, people talk about them, but I think it will probably be Baltimore because Baltimore had all that hype 2 years ago with Lamar Jackson, and I know he still doesn't have the receivers that everybody were hoping they could have got this year. But this year, you're really only hearing about the Steelers and Cleveland. So I think they're kind of flying under the radar a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, they've made the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So let's just stick to the AFC North. Which team didn't make the playoffs last year that you think is going to surprise people this year?
Okay. So you want me to say the Bengals? That.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
That is crazy. I mean, this guy's a Bears fan. That is objective. That is objective research right there.
I'll say this about the Bengals, man. I like Joe Burrow. I like Joey B a lot. He was one of my favorites.
Love him.
Last year. I hope, is he going to start the season or is he going to miss the first couple of games?
He's going to start. He's just not playing preseason.
Okay.
Yeah. That's because he's too good for. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. I mean, it's going to be, I think a lot of things just really, can the offensive line keep them healthy? That's the number one thing. Can they keep them up and going? And but that's a tough division. That's a tough division y'all in, man. You got 3 teams who are, in Pittsburgh. I really, Pittsburgh. They're always in the conversation. Even though I don't like Roethlisberger, but Mike Tomlin's probably my favorite coach in the league. Like if you ever listen to a Tomlin press conference, it's like he sounds like he just came from war. And so I just love everything about Tomlin. So I like the Bengals. I think the Bengals are definitely going to be a team that, when they're on TV, I definitely check them out just to watch Burrow.
Well, we are going to be checking out your team, sir, because you have a quarterback who is near and dear to our hearts.
Finally.
Andy Dalton. I mean, this guy, Andy Dalton, okay, look, that guy, he has this. Did you see his beard?
Yes,
Scott, did you see?
Beard looked immaculate.
It's not just immaculate. He looks mean. He looks.
Where was that for 10 years? Like where was he hiding that?
See, Scott, it's very important. We wanted Andy Dalton to stop looking like what's the guy from the Andy Griffith Show, the little kid, and look like
Ron Howard.
Stop looking like Ron Howard, and to intimidate people, and so. You have this guy now who very respected, a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart guy. He's a very tough guy, been around. And really, I think for a team like the Bears, that kind of a stability he brings, and the knowledge he brings is going to be huge for you.
Yeah, I think when we signed him, I wasn't happy just because we were in the Russell Wilson talks, and I say that with the biggest air quotes ever. But after us drafting Justin Fields, I love it because to me he's a great vet. I mean, even the time he had with you guys, you guys won a couple division titles. He's been in the playoffs a couple times. He's been a starter for a long period of time, and he's had some pretty good numbers while he was there. And compared to the quarterbacks that I've seen in my almost 33 years on this earth, trust me, he's already top 3. I'm somebody who I love Jay Cutler, and that tells you everything you need to know about my Bears fandom, that I love Jay Cutler. So I think he'll be a breath of fresh air. I love what he's doing with taking Justin Fields under his wing. Justin Fields has even said in his press conferences that Andy and his wife have taken him to dinner, and he knows the situation. He knows that eventually this is going to be Justin's team. And I do think that, Allen Robinson's going to benefit a lot from him too, because the crazy thing is Andy Dalton is going to be the best quarterback he's ever had, which is crazy when you think about it. He's had Mr. Trubisky and Blake Bortles and guys like that. So I'm really interested, and I feel like it's going to have a legit, thing for, Justin to kind of actually get across. Like, it's not like you just bringing in some random quarterback who really can't challenge him anyway. So I like him, man. I think, and like you said, with the beard, he did that. When I saw the pictures, I was like, okay, look like you mean business. He looked like you mean business this time. So I'm with it.
He does. You mentioned Justin Fields. And this guy, Scott, he's the most beloved quarterback. PFF loves this guy. Pro Football Focus. Now, why is Pro Football Focus important? Because other than Pro Football Focus, we just have the stats in our own eyes. And we all know any good society, if you look historically, not just the past 500 years, but historically, the strongest societies have been run by a few people. You have too many opinions out there, and it's chaos.
Right.
And so when you have people at PFF telling you what you should be seeing, it's really what we need. Now, Pro Football Focus has him as the highest throwing past the first down marker, the highest grade on after the first read since 2019.
Whew.
And Trevor Lawrence was number 7.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the only quarterback last year who finished in top 10 in both rushing and passing grades. And he has Pro Football Focus's highest grade ever in the CPOE category. I'm not sure what that means. I think it is the cuddling potential over expected. And I don't see how that translates to football, but I would just say it makes a lot of sense that he's a bear.
Yeah.
Because he's a very cuddly man. I think that just means that he'd be liked by his teammates. John, am I right on that one?
I mean, first of all, I don't think Justin Fields could grow that beard, so that already gives Andy Dalton kind of an up on that competition. But Fields was so productive at Ohio State for like 2 years as the starter there. It was crazy to see him just kind of grow into that role, like ever since he kind of transferred there and kind of asserted himself as the starter at like such a young age at 19 years old. And there were legit questions, I think, about him going into his final year in 2020. And he only played in like 7 regular season games, and some of them weren't exactly too pretty. I just remember like the Northwestern game that comes to mind. But just the way that he finished that season really capped off what he was as a prospect, the growth that he made over his years at Ohio State. And I think Scott can agree, like in terms of just talent and potential wise, there's never been a better quarterback that entered his career with the Bears than Justin Fields at this point, which is crazy to think of, but it's probably the truth, right?
Yeah, and the thing about Fields, man, I gotta paint the picture for y'all. Like, I was not gonna watch the draft. Like, I was going to boycott the draft. Like, I'm a big White Sox fan. I was watching the White Sox game instead. And I remember I was sitting there, and I got, the little ESPN alert on the phone and said the Bears traded up. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll turn this on. And, and so I was seeing pick by pick. And once they got past Denver, I was like, oh, okay, we might get this dude. And once we got him, man, it was probably top 3 feeling ever as a Bears fan, because that's the thing that we've been wanting forever. We've had the great defenses, had the great running backs, but never a quarterback. And I know there's a lot of Bears fans, including myself, who like want them to go out there right away. It's going to take time. But I feel like just potential-wise, we haven't had it better than this. And I think we'll be able to see Nagy's offense that I've been waiting to see for like 4 years.
Oh wait, was there
actually
any? I'm sorry. Was there any fear at all that it was going to be for Mac Jones in those moments?
A slight fear, maybe like 2%, but I just knew, okay, Nagy and Pace have been the butt of every joke for the last 4 years. They can't mess this up. So that was just like, of course, there's that little irrational Bears fear they're going to get Mac Jones. But I just knew they're going to get a Justin Fields. So when the name came on the screen, I was like, this is what it's all about, man. So I'm just really excited to see his progress. And I'm just, I've never been more confident in the guy because I'm not the biggest college football guy, but I did watch Justin Fields in Ohio State when they play. I remember the 6 touchdown game he had in the playoffs. And I remember I posted one of those touchdowns on my Instagram story. And at the time, I didn't think that this guy would be my quarterback in 4 months, but it's fun. I'm excited.
I mean, you should be excited. And you have 2 very good quarterbacks now after having all those struggles. But I guess my question is, why do you guys think that he even fell? Was it number 6? He fell to number 6?
Nah, it was 11. We were pick 11.
Oh, was it 11?
Yeah,
oh, 11.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at his success and you look at the analytics that back it up. John, what am I missing here? I mean, this guy, we talk about how, yeah, you have those exceptions. You have those Lamar Jacksons. You have those Josh Allens, those guys who aren't known for their accuracy, and it works out because they're just incredible athletes. But usually it's the guys with the accuracy and the ability to read a defense.
I have an answer for you for that one.
I think I know what the answer is. I would tell my answer, which is that there is a certain understanding of what let's say a kind of intelligent quarterback looks like.
Right, exactly.
And that kind of let's say profile is not necessarily applied to quarterbacks of color as much.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Like you already had, like I remember, like probably like when it got close to the draft time, you started hearing the narratives about him. Like, is he really a guy that cares? Is he gonna be in and out? Is he gonna be the first one in, last one out at the facility? And all that type of nonsense started creeping in. And I was like, okay, I see where this is gonna go. And so I kind of predicted he was gonna drop. I didn't think he was gonna drop all the way to where he dropped. I mean, Atlanta took a tight end over this man, and that just was crazy to me. So I didn't expect to be that drop, but it's the same stuff you hear. You know what I'm saying? Like when Lamar Jackson used to be a wide receiver. You know, we've heard it time and time again. But you're right. He does have the tools to where you should love how he plays. He's super accurate. And I know a lot of people are usually nervous about the Ohio State quarterback thing. There's 2 things I got to say to that. One, he's technically a Bulldog quarterback, if you want to be technical about it. Number 2, who was so great from Texas Tech before Patrick Mahomes? I think a lot of that stuff is nonsense. And I feel like this is a guy who has a tremendous, something on his back, a monkey on his back. He's got that, that on his shoulder where he knows that he feels like he's disrespected. Like, and at the worst, he's top 2 most NFL ready quarterback in the league. So I don't understand, if we're just talking about football, why he dropped that much. But I am thankful that he did drop that far.
Well, I will tell you, as someone who follows and is paid to support a team with a quarterback who came out of college very NFL ready, I would say congratulations. I'm glad you're part of the club. It feels really good. I don't know if you know, there's been a lot of hype around Joe Burrow recently. He's been called the next Aaron Rodgers. Okay?
He has Rodgers tendencies.
And John, who is this Steelers guy who came out and talked about it just recently?
Was that Ryan Clark? Ryan
Clark came out and said he's even more so Aaron Rodgers than Aaron Rodgers. Now,
Ryan Clark's an LSU guy, by the way, so there might be something to that.
Right, no, I don't think so. Well, he's a Steeler, so that cancels it out. But,
of course.
The thing is, he's even more Aaron Rodgers than Aaron Rodgers, which when you think about that is probably the hardest accomplishment for a person to achieve, is to be better at being someone than they are. Right. But what they mean by that is, look, Joe Burrow, he is a very tough guy. You can just throw anything at him, literally. I mean, I think as just from experience, I'm assuming, because they say he's very blue collar, hard hat kind of guy. I assume he had all sorts of objects being thrown at him, and he just bounced back. He's very strong, and I think what what the Steeler is saying, I don't remember his name. I can't ever keep the Steelers' names in my head for some reason. It's the hatred. I think it's the hatred.
I don't even eat cheese during football season. So I understand what
there you go. Yeah. No, I have terrible problems with gas too. But but what I'll say is this: is that so you have look, he's a smart quarterback, and in today's NFL, and he has that zip on his passes now, Scott. He improved the one area where he has a lot more zip on his passes, throwing the ball further down. What do you think? I know he's not the next Aaron Rodgers yet, but I think he's going to be better because Aaron Rodgers only won one Super Bowl.
I would love for him to be better than number 12. I would love nothing better than him to be better than him. But I think he definitely has the potential. He has the tools to do it. And I think the thing is with him, I feel like he has a chance to be kind of like the leader of the new school. Like what we're seeing in the NFL is kind of it's a crazy shift. You know what I'm saying? Where we're getting away from the era of quarterbacks that we grew up on. You know, what Brady's doing is not regular stuff. Like everybody who he was competing against is retired. So outside of him, you're seeing guys like the Mahomes, you know what I'm saying, and the Josh Allens, the Baker Mayfields. I think that Burrow can be up there, be that Manning to Mahomes Brady. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping we can get, if the Bengals can build a team around him to compete with Kansas City, that might be one of the next quarterback battles that we see over the next decade. I definitely think he has the tools. And if you compare him to the other quarterbacks, he's probably the best passer outside of Mahomes.
Wow.
In my personal opinion.
Well, Mike Daniels and that Steelers guy to one side, Scott Lewis, who has more followers than the rest of the free world, has just declared Joe Burrow the next great quarterback along with Mahomes. That is a lot, John. That means
it is a lot. Yeah. Like I feel like since we're talking about, I'll call him 12, so I won't trigger Scott. I feel like 12 was like the bridge from the Mannings, the Bradys, the Breezes, the Roethlisbergers, the Rivers to the modern quarterbacks now, because 12 had the ability and still has the ability to throw off platform, to create with his legs, and he was more than just a pocket passer. But the Burrows, the Mahomeses, the Allens, the now Fieldses, they all have the ability to not only manage a pocket and get the ball when it needs to, but to create on their own, to create out of structure, to basically make plays that Brady, Manning, and Breeze in their prime could never dream of making. But also, I think it's also intangibles too. I think both Burrow and Fields are wired in very similar ways because of their paths to the NFL. You know, they were told that they weren't good enough to compete where they originally were recruited to, and then they took over a new program. They created a new narrative in terms of like going to this program and being a successful quarterback, and now being a successful professional quarterback, and erasing the stigma of, you know, it doesn't matter what the sticker on your helmet tells you about being a quarterback. You can be a successful modern era quarterback and compete with these other high profile passers.
I definitely agree with that one. And he went to Ohio State before LSU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. Yeah. So who was the last great quarterback from LSU? Like you said, same thing with Fields. So I definitely agree with that, man. It's he's just got the tools. Like, you know, he has those things that make he looks like an elite quarterback. This is the way he carries himself. He looks like an elite quarterback. And for him to do what he did last year in the time that he played, you know what I'm saying, with the weapons they had, I think was impressive, man. I'm really excited to see him play this year.
Yeah, I would say this. My concern is no longer the weapons. It's not the defense so much. It's the same concern that I think you kind of alluded to, Scott, when you said that your coach is a nagger, or he's nagging a lot. And the Bengals, we have a coach who is very unproven as well. He doesn't complain as much as your coach, but he basically he hasn't shown us the kind of offensive innovation that we were promised.
Right. Exactly.
So what, as an outsider, objective outsider who predicted the Bengals to win the Super Bowl, what do you say? What is your analysis of Zach Taylor?
I think with him, before you can really give him the full grade, we got to see what weapons he has. Like, my beef with Nagy is he got the weapons. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like he always would use Mitch as a scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm with a belief of Mitchell's terrible, but Nagy's play calling wasn't helping him out either. So I feel like with Taylor, I feel like what he got out of Burrow for him to be his first year in the league, and for rookies, and we got to think about the impact with now no real camp. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of digital stuff last summer because of the pandemic. I think he did pretty good. Now, long term, I don't know if he'll be the coach that's going to take the Bengals into the next era. That might be the next person who comes up. But, I do think for right now, when you're trying to build the program, I don't think he's done that bad.
Yeah, well, that's very kind of you to say. Very generous. And it's probably smart because Zach Taylor does watch the show, mostly to take John's analysis and to find new schemes to apply to his offense. John, right?
The issue is there's no compensation with that. He's just watching our stuff and then just applying it and not even like crediting us for it. I mean, I know you can't do that, but it would be nice.
We do have a few patrons, people who, I don't know if that means they're robots who pay you money or what, but we have these patrons who are giving us about $2 to $5 each. And we don't know, maybe Zach Taylor is using a different name to pay us. Yeah. Look, guys, Scott it's such an honor to have him on the show. He's so successful at what he does. He's only been doing it 2 weeks. He's already taken over the industry. And this isn't even his full-time job. Scott is actually in finance. Tell them. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish.
He is, well, it says in your Twitter that you're
VP of Wu-Tang Financial. Yeah.
Right. The vice president of, that is incredible.
Diversify your bonds.
There you go. So listen to Scott about the sports and about your money. And subscribe to his podcast. It's available on Scratchify and all of those. Yeah,
you can go. It's the Barbers Chat Network on all streaming platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. You can go to the youtube.com, HMB Media TV. That's where I'm Not Gonna Hold You is going to be at. And speaking of Patreon, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network. We got 2 different packages. We got a podcast called Summer Sessions, which is me, my brother, and 2 of my closest friends. It's basically our group chat on audio. So anything I say on there, it's out of my hands. But if you want to just hear those episodes, it's $5 package. For everything else, we're reviewing The Sopranos right now on one of our TV review podcasts we got. That's our $10 package. So,
well, Scott, you say whatever you want, man. I'm not going to hold you.
Yes.
I'm not because you come on the show and you spit and you speak and you do whatever you want because this is a free country. Okay, we didn't swim to this country for nothing. Okay, so. Look, for John Sheeran and Scott Lewis, I'm Dadio McDuke, and you are listening to the #1 Bengals podcast. We'll see you next time. So long. Esfiti. Bye.